Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get-started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/audio.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. And this show is brought to you by CartKing.com. That's right, CartKing.com. They haven't dumped me yet, CartKing.com. 877-986-7771, CartKing.com. That's cart-king.com, CART-KING.com, CartKing.com. Have you ever thought about opening a mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps you have a business right now and you want to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly, overnight. CartKing.com could be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, food, carts, and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. Okay, so what you do is you go to cart-king.com. You check out all the different designs they have. You see which one applies to the business you have now or the business you want to go into. You pick that out. You contact them, 877-986-7771. They'll custom design it for you, custom build it for you, then ship it worldwide. By the way, this is not some little rinky-dink small company. This is a big, big company. They produce many of these carts and kiosks every day. So this is not a little operation. They can definitely handle any volume of business that you have. Cart-king.com. Okay, what a day, what a week, what a night, what a band. Topo Gigio for the kids. What is going on, man? We have had some freaking week of news, man. No way, and no one, any human being can keep up with all this, but I'm going to do the best I can for you. And I love you. Hey, let's go into this first. Member section's been updated. Got a lot of great new content in there. And as a matter of fact, even before we get to that, I got a brand new feature for the Opperman Report. Remember how like a what was that guy? Captain Kangaroo, like he'd have Mr. Green Jeans and then the rabbit or the turtle, the mailman would come. We have a new feature here at the Opperman Report, just like Mr. The Captain Kangaroo. We're going to call this, I don't know what we're going to call it. I haven't come up with a name yet, but we have an Opperman Report hotline. Okay? And this is a special phone number just for the Oppermaniacs, just for the listeners to the show, just for the YouTubers who listen to the show, and the people on KYAH, if you listen to the show on the radio, on AM radio, or iHeart, or iTunes, or Spreaker, or any of the stations, IPM Nation, People's Internet Radio. You can call from worldwide, 888-204-3834. Now, this isn't going to be a live call-in number. What this is a voicemail number. You can call in this number anytime you want. And let's say you're about to make a comment on YouTube, right? And you want to say, Ed Opperman, you're a Jew. I hate the Jews, right? Fine, okay? You can call up this number and leave that message. And then what I'll do is I'll take that little wave file and I'll play it on the air and I'll give my response. I'm not a Jew. How's that? And I don't hate the Jews. You're right. I don't hate the Jews enough as much as you'd like me to. I wish I could drum up more ignorant hatred inside my body to satisfy you, but I cannot. And I apologize for that. 888-204-3834. And if you have a tip you want to send me, guess what? Instead of sending me an email, because I know, I love getting your emails and your messages on Facebook and Twitter and all that. I love those messages. But rather than send it to me there, where there's a lot of times I'm not going to read it. Or sending a crazy message on YouTube, I'm going to have to delete it, or a message on Spreaker, and I got to delete it. You can yell into the phone, okay? Your comment, or your question, or you want to give me a tip on something, and you want to give me advice. A lot of people love to give me advice. And I tell you, I did a recording last week, because we're almost off the air still, but we're doing a little bit better now. And I said, you know what? We need funds. We need financial support. And instead of getting any financial, I got all advice. I got a bunch of emails telling me what advice. So this week I'm asking for advice. And maybe this week we'll get financial support instead. If I ask you for advice, you'll trick me again and send money. 888-204-3834. And the idea is, if you have a complaint, if you have a question, you want to call me out for being a shill or whatever, you got evidence about the Mandalay Bay bombers that nobody else knows about, all that kind of stuff. You leave it there, okay? And then it'll get on the air. I'll respond to it. Either I'll tell you I think you're crazy, or if you have a legitimate question, sure, I'll help you out if I can. And this will eliminate all the other problems. Okay, there's no more need to send me emails or anything like that. You just leave a message there, and it can get on the air and get heard. Rather than leave a comment on YouTube where no one's going to see it. How about 40, 50 people are going to read that? You can leave a message, and it'll be played on the air. Hundreds of thousands of people hear it. So, you can really get some traction there on your stuff. If you've been banned, you've been blocked on everything, on Facebook, on YouTube. Everywhere I see a comment, I see your name, I ban you immediately. I can't stop you from. Well, I can. Ultimately, I can if I really want to. But right off the bat, I'm not going to want to, and your content will be so funny, that we're going to be using this. Trust me. You leave a message there, we'll play it on the air. I'll respond to you on the air. Or maybe I'll record those responses. I don't know. And occasionally, too, maybe we can arrange an interview with a little dialogue. If it's an intelligent question, we'll do that. So that's our new little operation we got there going. 888-204-3834. If you can call it now if you want, but just to leave a message. I'm not going to pick up the phone. It doesn't ring anywhere. It just goes straight to voicemail. Okay. Now, the members section has been updated with excellent new content. I have 1 hour with Ernest Del Casal, who is a local father's rights advocate here in Nevada. Historically, the guy's a real legend in our town here for his fighting for father's rights and fighting in the family court, his knowledge and experience in the family court. I may actually have to go back to him, okay, because I got some really crappy stuff going on you wouldn't believe. Vic just turned 18 this month, early November. And so she decided, she packed up all her stuff. She left her mom's house. She moved in here full time. And now her mother's cutting off all financial support to her and all financial aid and could even possibly withhold her college fund. Okay? Because it's not quite spelled out in the divorce agreement the way we had that. I blew that one myself because a lot of that money's my money too, but I never dreamed that she would stoop this low. But anyway, keep us in prayer over that because God forbid Victoria we would have to even struggle even more than we are right now. That would just be a nightmare. So Ernest Del Casal, Then we have Yoli Castro came on about the migrant caravan and her unique perspective living down there in Mexico, nearby where all this is going on. I got another gentleman who's coming on my show tomorrow. I'm going to be taping with him, who has a similar experience, but he has some differing opinions too, and he lives right down there as well. So we're going to have him on. And these are two trusted people. I see them all the time. They're both members. They're both supporters of the show. They've been around the show for a long, long time. Then we found a couple of lost episodes, and they've been updated to the member section. One is Caroline Robinson, who was Jimmy Savile's great niece, and she speaks out about being molested by Jimmy Savile pretty much right in front of her whole family, you know, where they knew he was like a celebrity of the family, and he was coming over, and they dressed her up in her prettiest little dress, and they plopped him on his lap when she was like 12 years old. And then she talks about how he showed up at her engagement party and pulled her aside and molested her there, pretty much in front of people too as well. Really creepy stuff, man. And that's someone directly involved, she's hardly been interviewed anywhere. Then we have another interview here, Movement with Teeth, a documentary history of the George Jackson Brigade, with Daniel Burton Rose. And that's a lost episode that we uncovered. We found that. We put it up there. From last week, we had some new stuff. Is one with a new interview with Hank Harrison and Jamie Deluxe about Hollywood pedophilia. That's all brand new content in our members section. You have to go to the members section first. That's where all the new content's going to be going, to the members section, besides this live show I'm doing for you right now, Friday nights. We're adding tomorrow. We did an interview with this gentleman named Spawn Ranch Worker. He gives a tour of the Spawn Ranch, the Manson family Spawn Ranch, and he's really, really, really involved with all the goings on with the lawsuits over the ashes and the pictures and all this stuff that's going on with the current day Manson family folks. He's really, really up to his neck in all that stuff. So we have him on. And then I did a couple of interviews. I did one with Joe Gazebo, and we're going to be putting that in the member section. And I did another interview, too, with this gentleman named Alex Tsarkis. I apologize because he has a very oddly spelled name. But prior to the interview, normally I would ask someone, hey, how do you pronounce your last name? But we just kind of just rushed right into starting the interview there. So a lot of people who've been preparing the interview for the member section, they've listened to it, and they're kind of saying, oh, boy, hey, this guy was kind of hostile with you. He was kind of aggressive and rude with you, So I didn't really get that impression. I enjoyed the interview, and we have that going up in our member section. You can check that out. Alex Tsarkis, who interviewed me for about an hour and a half. So we've got a lot of brand new content going up in the members section. Coming up this month, too, I'm going to be interviewing that guy from his name is Grant, and he wrote the book about the Pentagon Papers, which is being made into a movie. So a lot of great content in our members section. Remember, that's how you support the show. If you need a discount on that, I'll give you a discount. 13 months for $65. You contact me directly, oppermanreport@gmail.com. If you want 6 months, $40 for 6 months. oppermanreport@gmail.com. I'll send you PayPal. We'll get you set up tonight. I work all night long setting people up with this. And then the other thing, too, is if you just want to pay monthly, $6 a month, you go to oppermanreport@oppermanreport.com, and you could just sign up there monthly. And if we can just get like 200 people to sign up monthly, we would be set. I would be so happy with that. I wouldn't complain about anything, just that would be enough to keep me happy here and keep the show on the air. That would be enough to keep everything going. I'd work for you all the time. I'm working on a project, too, right now. I'm trying to get down to the Iowa State Fair in August with a little, like a trailer or a Winnebago or something like that. I've already contacted them about press credentials and press passes and stuff, because that's where all the presidential candidates go, the Iowa State Fair in 2019. And so that'll be huge. We'll get to meet every single presidential candidate, because they're desperate to do interviews down there. So we'll get to meet them all, for future use and reference. The audio is going on and off. No, this is not, Tracy, that's just you. No one else has those problems with the audio. That's only you. Okay? So anyway. Every week, this poor woman, she complains about the audio. No one else has the problem. Okay. Oh, boy. What's going on? There's so much. Everyone right now today is going on about the Manafort sentencing memo and the Cohen sentencing memo. But we can't forget what's gone on in the past week. One thing I do want to pop up here with this thing with it's Armand Bundy, who came out. He was running for governor here in Nevada. I could have booked him on the show because I wanted to bring him on the show and try and pump him up there to split the Republican vote in favor of Sisolak, because we were supporting Sisolak at the end there for my own reasons, not because I'm a Democrat, but for my own personal reasons. So I was hoping to get Bundy on to split the Republican vote, but then we had no problems with Lexel here in Nevada. We had a huge sweep, blue wave here in Nevada. So anyway, he's come out and said that he's detaching himself from the movement, the 3%ers and the Oath Keepers and the militia movement and all this kind of stuff like that, out of sympathy for the caravanners, for the migrant caravanners, and he's distanced himself from Trump. He's pulled his support from Trump. But I got to tell you guys, go back and check out my interview with Trevor Aronson, who did an excellent expose on the undercover FBI operation. They claimed they were doing a documentary of the Bundys, and they went up there, and it turns out everyone surrounding these Bundys they're all informants and phony army credentials. They're like stolen valor guys.
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And informants and agents, a swamp of these people. The Millers were up there. They shot a couple of cops. They turned out to be informants and agents, all over the place. Then that other group, the Veterans on Patrol with the pedo camp and all that stuff like that, they were up there causing controversy. There was a swamp of agents and provocateurs and informants and all kinds of phonies and frauds all around that bunch. Way too much to get involved in. It's so deep and so thick. You got to be living it 24 hours a day, and even then you can't keep heads or tails of what's going on with that bunch. Good luck with you if you're going to try. I've been involved in this kind of stuff since I've been a kid, and I know I couldn't keep on top of that. Now, one thing that came out is Roger Stone. Roger Stone was testifying before the Senate committee, and he takes the fifth. He says, I'm not cooperating with you. And before and after this, Trump had put out some tweets praising him and, saying, oh, he's a stand-up guy and all this kind of stuff, right? I don't have a direct quote in front of me. But now, let me tell you something. People who, they're just tuning in, you don't have no idea who I am or what I'm doing. I'm a private investigator. I'm a defense investigator. And a lot of times, PIs who get in trouble, okay? A couple of the main things they'll get in trouble for. One is impersonating a police officer, okay? And that'll happen because a lot of PIs are ex-cops and they still got a badge, and they know the weight, and they know how to wave that badge around and get doors open and get documents handed to them, and intimidate people with the use of a badge. So even though they're no longer a cop and now they're a private investigator, they'll still wave the badge and throw the badge around and kind of impersonate a cop. This happens a lot. I've never been a cop, so I've never got into that whole fantasy with the badge and all that kind of stuff like that. I don't get into that kind of stuff whatsoever. So I'm pretty safe on that front. Although I've had occasions where I've left a message for a witness or something like that, and they've come back and said, well, he claimed he was Inspector Opperman, or he said he was Detective Opperman, or he was Sergeant Opperman, And just, those kind of things, if I'm in a legal state where I can record, I'll have a recording of my message that I left them. So I know that that's not on there, because trust me, I don't get involved in that kind of stuff at all. Just such, I'll come down on you. I am like the goody two-shoes these days, man. Oh, God, sakes. But anyway, the other thing you get in trouble for is witness intimidation or tampering with a witness, tampering with a jury. These kind of things that PIs get in trouble with all the time. Obstruction of justice. These are the charges you fall into all the time. And this is why I could tell you from my own personal experiences. Now, if Roger Stone is a witness, right, and I start tweeting at him saying, hey, don't testify, Roger. Hey, good thing you didn't testify, Roger. Here's some praise, or here's a gift, or here's a promise of something. That's obstruction of justice. That's witness tampering. No, there's no doubt in my mind it is. You can't do that. I can tell you from my own experience you can't do that. Now, this whole business, okay, he's sending a tweet. Well, Ed, that's harmless. It's just a tweet. If I know where a witness lives, I can't buy a billboard out in front of their house and put up an advertising saying, hey, snitches get stitches. You can't do that kind of stuff because it's tampering. I would get thrown in jail for that. Now, the President of the United States has not been thrown in jail yet, but that's still time. Okay, I even think it's jury tampering and witness tampering when HLN would have that Vinnie Politan on every night, and he was doing those little segments about Jodi Arias, and he had his own little jury up there, and he says, tonight we're going to decide, is Jodi Arias evil or just guilty? Hammering you over and over and over again every night that this poor woman was guilty, without benefit of a trial. But that's what we're descending into here. Okay, 19 minutes. Woo, time is flying. Play a little commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company. They're located in India, so you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service. They offer all sorts of business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshoring, research network, customer care, press release, content writing and distribution, and much, much more. Now, you can get a hold of Subash Technosis by email at info@subashtechnosis.com. Their website is www.subashtechnosis.com, and their Skype is ANUSHASUBASH. Check out cartking.com, 877-986-7771. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services, like let's say you own an office building or a warehouse. Put one of these carts there in the lobby. Well, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail coffee and food carts and kiosks money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. From large, heated, and secure outdoor retail or food kiosks to smaller, more mobile coffee kiosks or coffee stations, coffee carts, CartKing.com designs and builds them all. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on the website, CartKing.com. Please visit today at CartKing.com or just call them at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you and you get a good deal. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all the kind of different services for you. Online dating service investigations called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites, and we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. Come on. Okay, there you go. Boy, I couldn't click that little button with the mute thing. Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I am your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, and time is running out. We've got to be talking fast. Fill up all this time. What else happened this week? Stormy Daniels. The lovely Stormy Daniels has to pay $800,000 in legal fees to President Mr. Trump and his lawyers. See, that's what happens. Okay? Now, a lot of people, they see this, oh, there you go, Ed. See that? That proves she's a liar. She lied because she just lost the case and she has to pay the legal fees. Look, Ed, see? No. What happened was, here's what happened. Her first lawsuit, the real one, is still in play. It's still an active lawsuit. She's suing Mr. Trump to get released from her non-disclosure, her hush money deal, her non-disclosure, where she can't talk about it. That case still exists. Okay? That's still going on. This is one of those things, a defamation lawsuit, where she sued Trump for defamation for calling her a liar. Now, that's a legitimate tactic. When you have no cause of action, right? Gloria Allred's a genius at this. So are a lot of other people, but there's a lot of people out there that know what they're doing with this, and that's what you do. If you have no cause of action because of the statute of limitations or whatever, you get them on the defamation. They call you a liar, and then you say, well, I'm going to sue you for defamation. Now you can bring all that stuff out, okay? And this is what Mr. Avenatti thought he was doing. But he did not do a service to his client. The judge ruled in this case that Mr. Trump was allowed to call her a liar because it was politics. It was political banter, okay? And it was going on during a campaign, and it was, back and forth, and it doesn't apply to standard defamation case. It's an exception. So she got stuck, okay, with an $800,000 legal fee. In my opinion, it's due to bad lawyering, bad advice. She got bad legal advice. And this is what you got. You got a situation right now where, again, too, there's so much confusion. People say, well, Ed, don't you say that Avenatti's your lawyer? No, Avenatti is the one suing my lawyer. My lawyer, the good guy and the smart guy, Keith Davidson, is the one that got her paid. He got $150,000 into her pocket. She fires him, hires Avenatti. Avenatti got her negative $800K. Okay? All right, so you tell me who's the good lawyer and who's the bad lawyer. Avenatti's also suing Davidson, trying to claim that he was a bad lawyer. Oh, but let's see how that one's going to turn out. Okay? Okay? Your Honor, he only got her $150,000. I got her $800,000 in debt. He's a terrible lawyer. Okay? This is what's going on. Okay? All right. You got to love this, man. If it wasn't the end of our country and the end of democracy, you'd have to love it. So anyway, this doesn't mean that Stormy Daniels is lying. She hasn't been found lying. The case hasn't been thrown out. The original case is still in play there, where she's going to be able to tell her story, and then all that stuff's going to come out. Okay? There's nothing whatsoever proving she's lied about her allegations against Trump. As a matter of fact, it's coming out in this Cohen prosecution sentencing memo today what she's saying is accurate. And Trump's guilty of election fraud, committed a felony by the payoff. And so is Cohen. And Cohen's going to wound up in there for 4 years. Mark my words, he's going to do at least 4 years. Now, similar to this, it's almost the same thing. See, this works. Okay? If you have a cause of action and it's beyond the statute of limitations, the weak case, whatever, you'll reel them in, you lure them in, you get them to defame you, then you sue them for defamation. Okay? And this is what happened in the other case that's being widely misreported. It's come out, everyone's interested in the Jeffrey Epstein case now because of this wonderful reporting in the Miami Herald by this woman, Julie K. Brown. Okay? And I understand she gave me some kind of a backhanded compliment or excuse or something where she said, yes, this story's been covered before and there's been some excellent work by a former police officer who has a podcast. And I'm assuming she's talking about me. I don't know. I'm not a former police officer, but I'm the private investigator. Or she's called me a former PI or something like that. And I'm trying to get someone to send me, to find me, locate me the clip. But if I got several emails saying that she's talking about this down in Florida, Julie K. Brown. Okay, but you worked. Oh yeah, right. Let me ask you a question here, right? That is Julie K. Brown. She's claiming that she worked night and day, going through the court documents, looking for clues to figure out who the victims were, and she was able to locate 80 victims. Now that's just fascinating. That's just fascinating. You'd think she would have taken a break from going through looking for all those clues and picked up the phone and called me up and said, hey, man, do you know any of these victims? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that be, wouldn't you want to make things easy on yourself and say, hey, can you help me out here? Just send an email. Hey, I'm working on this big expose. It's going to be all over the place. Hey, the fix is in. This story's going to go full, front page. You want me to help you out? You want to help me out? Anything? Give me some info? Obviously, somebing dropped all this information into her lap. There's no way she figured out all 80 names by looking through the court documents. That's insane. Okay? Not that I'm getting cranky about these things, okay? I'm actually in a pretty good mood. But then it comes out this week that Epstein settles his case with Brad Edwards. Who's Brad Edwards? Let's see if I have notes on this. I don't think I do. It's all, yeah, I kind of do.
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Most of it's off the top of my head. Brad Edwards is a former federal judge, and he's the lawyer mainly for Virginia Roberts, who was the Trump employee who was raped by Epstein, raped by Ghislaine Maxwell, raped by Dershowitz, raped by Prince York, all these people. And she did the big, article about I was held as a sex slave by these people and stuff like that. And the real lawsuit in this is that when Epstein got his sweetheart deal by Alexander Acosta, Trump's current Secretary of Labor, the victims were never notified by the state of Florida or the federal government, their victims advocacy agency, whatever it's called. So now, Brad Edwards, on behalf of several of these plaintiffs, And there was, there was a hearing once where some of the plaintiffs were detached and says, "Oh my God, it's a loss it's a victory for Epstein." Again, it's not. I don't know why everyone's misreporting this stuff. It's just so bizarre. But that lawsuit was initiated, and in it, he put some paperwork in there mentioning Dershowitz. Dershowitz came back, and he sued Brad Edwards for defamation and blah, 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 all this other stuff. Edwards went back, sued him, and sued Epstein for defamation. Bar complaints, all kinds of nonsense went back and forth. Then Friday night, about a year ago, maybe even a little longer than that, on a Friday night, I was just about to do the show, and I get an email from William Ramsey, host of William Ramsey Investigates. And he goes, "Hey, Ed, Friday night document dump. Check this out." And it was 2 press releases, one by famed Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz declaring victory, saying he's dropping his lawsuit against Brad Edwards, and he's sorry he ever said these things about him, but declares victory. And Brad Edwards comes back and he says, "Well, okay, we're also dropping our lawsuit, but this doesn't end our lawsuits against Mr. Epstein or any of these other cases. We're still moving full speed ahead." Okay, you got to read those 2. I got to put them in the member section for you at OperaReport.com. And so that was dropped, but the defamation lawsuits between Epstein and Brad Edwards continued until this week when they were settled. And they were settled for a financial settlement and for an apology. Epstein had to apologize and pull out that checkbook again and make another check out to Brad Edwards. Okay? He put him down as a dependent on his tax returns. He sent so much money to Brad Edwards and his clients. So, for everyone, now this gets reported in the news. Oh no. Another chance for these victims to come forward and tell their story has been taken and was snatched away from them. These poor victims. This case was an add-on. First of all, it's a payoff for the plaintiffs. Okay, Edwards. And he gets an apology. So he won. He won the case. And this was an extra added benefit to the original case, which still exists 100% unaltered, unchanged, undeterred, unslowed down, nothing. The real case is still going on like nothing ever happened. But this additional case is a windfall dropped into Brad Edwards' lap. And we're going to complain about that? We're going to say this is some kind of loss to truth, justice, and the American way? This is a victory. How could it not be interpreted as a victory? I don't even understand what people are thinking. My neighbor's going to kick me out. I start going on. I'm going to get kicked out of here, man. Hey. Something we got to make some changes around it. Anyway, don't forget the new number to call is 888-204-3834. If you disagree with something I say, you want to send me a tip or advice or something like that, you want to send me your bank account number, ATM number, right there, 888-204-3834. So that's how the good old Epstein case has been misreported this week. But we cannot forget, okay, for all the people out there who don't believe in coincidences, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, according to Epstein's own brother, flew on the private 747 of convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. He also gave that same convicted pedophile and his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and a teenage girl, they had a teenage girl with them, a ride on his plane. Now, both of these guys got their own planes, but they want to fly together. For whatever. And we know that Epstein, Maxwell, and a teenage girl who was made up to look older flew on Trump's plane because there was a journalist from Golf Digest who wrote a story about this. We have an eyewitness. Even more coincidentally, the same pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, one of his victims was an employee of Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, a little teenage employee. And even more coincidentally, both Epstein and Trump were co-defendants in a lawsuit claiming they raped a teenage little girl. Once again, with 3 witness affidavits in that lawsuit. Then we have our witness last week, Barbara Pelling, says, well, she was 16, Trump was hitting on her. And then she met another model who was 17 that dated Trump. You see a pattern here? Is this a pattern that we need to look into? Huh? Mr. Mueller, can you look into this, please? Mr. Mueller, can you tune into the show next week? Yeah, and do something about this. Or we gotta have, or the only thing you could come up with after $33 million is that Trump did some campaign felonies, paying off a porn star, which is bad enough. Just imagine, man, 10 years ago, when if we had Bill Clinton was paying off a porn star. Man, the scandal. Or if Bill Clinton's campaign manager convicted in prison. His personal lawyer in prison. By the way, today, let's get into a little bit of Michael Cohen. Today, the prosecutor, Southern District of Manhattan, Southern District of New York, comes out and elaborately portrays Michael Cohen as a career criminal, as a liar and a career criminal who facing all these charges, he's going to do 5 years, facing all these charges, would not, there's crimes beyond what he's been caught doing that he was not willing to talk about to get himself a better deal. The President of the United States lawyer is a career criminal. And this guy only had 3 clients. The President of the United States, this other character, who was a Republican fundraiser. Let me see if I can find it. Can't find it. Let me see if I got a back up here and then I'll find it. Elliott Broidy. Donald Trump is one client. Elliott Broidy is another client over some sexual matter with the Playboy Playmate and abortion, all kind of stuff like that. Right? And who's the third client? Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity, his lawyer, is a career criminal. Sean Hannity has a career criminal for an attorney. And that attorney only had 3 clients. What does that tell us about Sean Hannity? Is this on the news tonight that Sean Hannity's attorney has been convicted and had to plead guilty and has been portrayed as a career criminal, tax cheat, organized crime, taxi scams, all this stuff, the Russian collusion? What's going to happen the next time Ollie North is on the Hannity? What's it called? The Sean Hannity show, the Hannity report, the Hannity stupidity, Hannity, right? The next time he's on, they look at each other with those weepy eyes, and they get all stairway. So, Sean, you're a great American. Oliver North, you're a great American. Who are these two? This convicted perjurer, the one, this drug dealing little scumbag, Ollie North. Who is he to declare who's a great American? And this other one, whose attorney is a career criminal, is involved in cover-ups with porn stars and prostitution and abortions. And these 2 sanctimonious clowns are going to stare at each other and declare, you're a great American. Oh, you're a great American. I want to puke. Colluding with the Russians, they are, both of them. Ollie North, too. Okay. And I know someone will say, you know what, I know you hate Trump, but why do you got to say that Sean Hannity is not a great American? Of course he's a great American. And he's exposing the FISA warrant applications and the lies, the FISA court, and all this great stuff, Ed. American being spied on. Anyway, I'm putting a little commercial break. Get back to more fun games and surprises here at the Opperman Report. Don't forget our member section. It's our member section that's keeping us going here, guys. And we do need members urgently. It was as little as $6 a month, and to keep us on the air another month and undo this whole situation where all the good stuff's going into the member section. And we could go back to having more live shows on Friday nights. And, and I got this new 800 number for you. Or you can call me up and leave me nasty messages and curse me out. 888-204-3834. Okay? Call there up. You leave a message. Tell me what you hate about me, what you agree with, when you want to give me a tip, whatever. And then you don't have to call my business phone number. You don't have to email me. It might work. Okay? All right? You just leave it right there and it'll go on the show. People will hear what you have to say. Not like YouTube and these stupid comments. Sending me messages and no one reads them. Be right back after these messages with more of the Opperman Report. Ooh. And now a word from our sponsors. The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company. They're located in India, so you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service. They offer all sorts of business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshoring, research network, customer care, press release, content writing, and distribution, and much, much more. Now, you can get a hold of Subash Technosis by email at info@subashtechnosis.com. Their website is www.subashtechnosis.com, and their Skype is ANUSHASUBASH. Check out cartking.com, 877-986-7771. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services, like let's say you own an office building or a warehouse. Put one of these carts there in the lobby. Well, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail coffee and food carts and kiosks money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. From large, heated, and secure outdoor retail or food kiosks to smaller, more mobile coffee kiosks or coffee stations, coffee carts, CartKing.com designs and builds them all. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on the website, CartKing.com. Please visit today at CartKing.com or just call them at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you and you get a good deal. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by emailrevealer.com. You can go to emailrevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all those kind of different services for you. Online dating service investigations called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites, and we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. We can expand on that investigation and trace it back to porn sites, escort service sites, swinger sites, gambling websites, and even prescription drug websites, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. We got a little tip during the show tonight by this gentleman named Oliver, or Olivier, about Jared Fogle. But Jared Fogle was on this radio show, something about,
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
Very fascinating stuff here. I'm going to have to listen to this. It's some kind of a satanic podcast that Jared Fogle, the Subway child molester guy, was involved in. So I'll be taking that a listen, and then we'll be playing it next week. But thank you so much, Tipster there. Thank you. I'd mention your name if you want me to. Just let me know when I do the show, when I report on that. I'll let you know. Okay, so this week I'm checking out QAnon because, as you know, Michael Flynn, his sentencing memo also was released this week. Fascinating stuff, right? And it turns out that Michael Flynn is cooperating with the prosecutor, by the way. In case you don't realize this, I was checking out the QAnon group the day of Michael Flynn's sentencing memo came out. And if you don't know who QAnon is, or Q, it's this bizarre troll hoax kind of thing where this guy's claiming to be a high-level, top-secret insider, and that he has information that the Mueller probe is really an investigation into the Clintons. It's not an investigation into Trump. And this bizarre thing that the Hillary Clinton is about to get arrested, and there's about to be mass arrests and a government coup and an overthrow. And it's all about to come. Just trust the plan. It's all coming. They're going to say, and they're going to round up all the pedophiles and organized pedophile groups and stuff like that. Well, there's one right there, Mr. Trump and Epstein. There you go after him. Okay, Q, go get him. Well, anyway, so I guess the Q people don't realize that Flynn is testifying against Trump. I guess they don't realize this because in the Q group they're saying pray for Flynn and donate money to Flynn. And pray that he doesn't get a harsh sentence from the judge. And I said, well, why don't we pray instead for truth and justice? And I got blocked. They blocked me immediately. No truth and justice around here, pal. When we pray for, we got an agenda with our prayers. Okay? So the theory, I guess they don't realize that Flynn's made a deal with the prosecution, and he's prosecuting Trump. He's working for the prosecution to put Trump in prison or get him impeached. They don't realize this. It just makes no sense. But in his memo comes out, he's working on 3 cases, man. He's gotten 3 cases for the government. One is the Mueller case. He's testifying in that. Then an undisclosed criminal case. There's another criminal investigation that Flynn is a witness in that he's giving them information about. By the way, too, there's other... It mentions in the Manafort thing and also in the Cohen thing, there's other criminal matters all over the place. This is such a landslide. This is such an avalanche falling down on the President of the United States' head and his family, all of them going down. But Flynn got... And then there's a third case that's totally undescribed. We don't know if it's a criminal case. It can't be another Mueller case because it would just say 2 Mueller cases. If it was, they would say that he's working on 2 criminal cases. But this doesn't describe it. It could be a national security type, espionage type case. We don't know yet. But Flynn is working like a little bunny there, turning in his old pal there, President Mr. Trump. And it's not... See, the thing is, and he got a complete walk. He's getting no time whatsoever, which means you gave him a lot. How these things usually work, okay? And I'm familiar with how these things work, okay? I've worked many defense cases for clients, and the government comes to them, and they say, we want you to turn, okay? And they'll go in for, they call it a proffer or a free talk. They call it queen for a day. You just go and tell them everything you've been doing. And I say, okay, if you could tell us all the stuff, you can work out a case against this guy, and this guy. This is what we'll give you. But if you can give us this guy and this guy and this guy, you're going to walk out with nothing. And witness protection, we're going to get you a job, we're going to do all this kind of stuff. We're going to pay you, put you on payroll. Now, normally this happens in drug conspiracy cases, right? And what you have is you'll have a guy, he gets busted with $100,000 worth of LSD or cocaine, right? Methamphetamine. I guess that's all the kids use today, right? Meth. Right? So you get busted with $100,000 worth. So they say, well, you got to give us you have to give us enough cases to match 3 times what you've been busted with. If you've been busted with $100,000, we want cases adding up to $300,000. If you can give us one guy who has $300 cash on him, If you give us 10 guys with $30,000 each, then your slate is wiped clean. You got to get out of jail free card. You walk out. Now, in the old days, and I'm sure they still do it today, they had an arrangement where what you could do is, okay, listen, you busted me with $100,000. I got to get you $300,000. Okay, fine. You get 300. You take your own $300,000. You take your own money. You put it in a suitcase, right? You call up some guy, some poor slob. He's another guy doing things out there. We're going to meet him at a hotel. Okay, you and me, we're going to meet in a hotel. You record the meeting. Say, hey, I think you and me should do this. We should do that. Boom, kick the door. FBI, whatever. You're under arrest. Under arrest for what? You guys are plotting a drug deal. Plotting a drug deal? What are you talking about? Look, I give up. You're right. There it is. Here's the money. Okay. Now, of course, the other guy's gonna, they're gonna drop the charges on him. They don't have enough evidence against him. But the DEA, the FBI, they got their payoff. They got their 3 times, and you could buy your way out of those situations. And that was something that was very, very common back in the 80s and 90s. Now, I don't know if they're still doing it today. I would assume they are. I haven't had one of those recently to know if what it's like to pay off the federales, because I kind of avoid people now who are going down that road of being informants, because it just turns out they stiff you for the bill, and they're just not decent people, and I'd rather work for defendants who are trying to root out and expose the rats and the informants rather than work for the ones who are. Also, by the way, too, in the Flynn Mueller sentencing memo, the 13-page sentencing memo from Mueller on the Flynn case, it also talks about how they have evidence and they're investigating and they're charging people around the Trump transition team. Now, that was run by Mike Pence. So you may be seeing Pence in trouble, too. Now, I got to tell you, all this has been some week with news and court filings, all looking bad for the president, all looking bad for this administration, and his family, and this whole bunch of crooks that he brought in there with him. And if you don't believe me, all you had to do was look at George Bush's funeral. Now, I'm no fan of George Bush. As a matter of fact, last week, when I was doing the show, George Bush was dying right as the show, while I was doing the show. And at one point, you heard me say, boy, I feel so relieved, And I thought I felt relieved because I was giving out a lot of hints and clues and things about stuff. There's so many things I'd love to tell you. I just wish I could. I wish I was never constrained by my profession as a private investigator, that I could just tell you everything I know. But some things are so important, I try and get them out to you without betraying clients and betraying trust and confidences. And I try and get it out there to you. And I thought that's what made me feel good. But I think what I'm convinced right now is I could feel evil leaving the earth. And when I found out, when I just said it right now, I felt it again. And when I wrote this on Facebook, when I first wrote on Facebook that Poppy Bush dead, when I found out the next day, when it was announced publicly, I could feel it then again too. And even right now, when I just say George Bush, Herbert Walker Bush dead, I can feel that evil left the earth. And I feel kind of happy, I hate to dwell on somebody's death, man. But I think he was an evil guy, man. I think he was up to his neck in the Franklin cover-up and the Henry Vinson Confessions of a D.C. Madam. I think he was up to his neck and all that stuff. Iran Contra, the Kennedy assassination, all this kind of stuff. I think he was up to his neck in it. I think he's an evil guy, and I think, okay, that Barbara Bush is the daughter of Crowley. And when you look at the teenage Bush sons, they look like a teenage Crowley. And that's why you hardly ever see any pictures of the teenage Bush sons, in my opinion. And I know I'm getting a little out there, but that's how I feel. But if you looked at President Mr. Trump at that funeral, where he's not praying, he's sitting there scowling and steaming and all over the place. This guy, man, this guy is on the edge. We don't know what's going to happen next. And we all better hug our children tight, because we're in for a roller coaster ride the next few months. He's not going to go down like Rockefeller, like Agnew did. He's not going to go down like Nixon did. This guy's going to go down with what's a flurry of pardons and firings and stalemates and every kind of thing. He might even run again in the midst of all this craziness. Even after, today's the day, 12/7/2018, Friday night, 7:55 p.m., and the sitting president of the United States, his personal attorney, has been labeled as a career criminal and is going to prison. His campaign manager sits in a prison right now, not just for international crimes, not just for still communicating, by the way, with Ukraine during the campaign and during his during his plea negotiations, he's still communicating with the Ukraine. This is just so beyond. The National Security Advisor, Flynn, testifying against him. This is so beyond anything we've ever lived through in this country. I don't know if our country or our country can survive this without tanks in the street, ultimately. You can agree with me. If you don't agree with me, you can call 888-204-3834. You leave me a message, a question, a comment. You know, kind of look for the wackier the better. Okay, because, you know, I want to make this entertaining. I always thought I would do a show with save the crazy comments I get, because every Saturday morning, you can't believe the comments I see on YouTube. They're just insane, you know. And I always said, I should save these, copy and paste them, save them, and do a show about it. So this is a great plan. We're going to have actual recordings of people calling in. And if you have a legitimate, intelligent question, too, please, you're welcome. God, please, you're welcome. I'd love to hear something normal and intelligent, too. Now, if you enjoyed tonight's show, check out our member section. We've just updated it with, like 8 hours worth of content in the past month, and in the past 2 weeks. You know? Father's Rights in Nevada, Ernest Del Casal, legend, Yoli Castro about the migrant caravan, the Caroline Robinson, the great niece of Jimmy Savile, tells her first-hand reporting on being molested by Savile. Daniel Burton Rose about the George Jackson Brigade. We have Hank Harrison. We have Jamie Deluxe, huge following, Hollywood pedophilia. We have Monique Morgan, whose husband is in the ICU after getting a flu shot here in Nevada. Ariana Dietz, sexual abuse in Jehovah's Witnesses, and was covered up her whole life. Great content in there. Plus all other kind of stuff, too. That show with Trevor Aronson, when he talks about all the infiltration into the Bundy Ranch, stuff like that, and the FBI doing an undercover operation, impersonating a film crew. So tons and tons and tons of stuff in there, okay, for you to support the show. $6 a month, and that'll keep us on the air. All right. And also, too, we're trying to raise money now to go down to Iowa, the Iowa State Fair, in the end of July, August. Down there, that would be great. We get to meet all the presidential candidates and ask them the tough questions that you love here at the Opera Report. And let's see what's coming up here next. Is Pierce Redmond after this? Really good shoe. And let's see. Good night. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in, and I really appreciate it. And everyone who donated and subscribed in the past week, thank you so much. You have no idea how stressful it is, man, to be so far behind on your bills. And so far behind that you got to lose. We pretty much lost the Wake Radio. There's nothing we could do about that. And we lost the KYH too. My plan is to complete a couple of these books, my credit repair book and the Daniel Fast book, during the Christmas holiday. And then January, February, we come back and I'm going to put on my credit cards at KCAA, some like a big station down in California, just go for broke. All or nothing. Okay, I live in Vegas, and I'm going to put it all on the red or the black. But to support our efforts between now and then, OppermanReport.com, you can send a donation. We welcome your donations. Okay, it's keeping us alive here. And also to become a member. Become a member, $6 a month, man. Will do so much to keep us on the air and keep us nice and stress-free, and being able to work on your reports and answer your phone calls here at 204-3834. Leave me a message. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Shane McKay out there in Ireland, man, for all your hard work, bro. Guys, gets the audio going for us here. He does all the editing. He puts the edits in the ads. It's out the ads. You know, I tell him, hey, man, I got this great idea with this 800 number. That's more work for him, man. But the guy's a great guy. And
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.
He's a big help, and he loves doing it, man. He loves the show. He loves the work. So thank you so much, Shane McKay. Begorra. Good night.
Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities. Fentanyl. It could be hiding anywhere, including in your house, including in your medicine cabinet, or maybe at a friend's house when you're hanging out, playing games, and get offered a pill. Don't take chances. If a drug didn't come from a pharmacy directly to you, you can find fentanyl using a simple strip you can pick up at your local pharmacy. Don't take it until you test it, because fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Brought to you by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Mental Disabilities.